All right, a good evening to you. Welcome in on this Friday. I'm Jamie Costello. It has been more now than 2 weeks since that wild shootout between an armed suspect and Baltimore City Police in East Baltimore. But today, the Baltimore Police Department released body-worn camera video of the incident. WMAR 2 News' Brian Kubler saw it, and he shows it to us right now.
Jamie, while there was plenty of video to sift through, Baltimore Police Commissioner Michael Harrison chose to show us the view from just one officer. He said that body camera and some video from the police chopper gave the clearest picture of what happened.
No tag on it. Watch out. He's got a gun.
It starts with an officer who recognized Tyrone Banks and his vehicle from an assault on several other officers earlier in the week. A chase ensues. It is rather lengthy through the streets of East Baltimore. This particular officer is qualified to carry this high-powered rifle. It is at Caroline and Fayette Streets where Banks steps out of the car with his gun and then shots are fired. This particular officer then runs after the car down Caroline Street. What you're about to see is the conclusion of this event that generated 154 shell casings police would later recover. Banks was killed. Police point to their chopper video they also released today, showing Banks pointing his gun at least twice at officers. But Baltimore police cannot say whether or not he fired his own weapon, though 13 police officers did fire, and more than 150 casings were recovered. Certainly a concern for Commissioner Michael Harrison.
The number of officers fired, the amount of rounds that were fired, becomes a concern for any chief, for any executive, because as I stated, we have to be accountable for where every one of our rounds ends up.
Including the round that ended up in one officer's leg that night. And the one that struck Ray Meyer, who was sitting in her own car at the intersection. Police cannot say who those rounds belong to, citing the ongoing internal investigation. Also at the crux of this case, though, is the decision to call off a chase of Banks down 295 2 nights prior versus a chase and a 154-bullet shootout in the middle of a residential area of East Baltimore.
Then that's what investigations are for, to determine what should have been done and then how we have corrective action if something was done that should not have been done.
Now, Harrison says this incident may very well result in more training for his officers. Both the officer and the bystander who were struck during this incident are continuing to recover tonight.